Are you eager to dive into the world of Japanese language and culture for yourself or a child, but you don't know the best way to start? Before you start learning Japanese, discover the key tips and tricks that can make your journey smoother and more enjoyable. From understanding the basics to exploring cultural nuances, we've got you covered on This Japanese American Life. Welcome back, friends. We share practical tips for all things Japan, including language. Let's make learning Japanese fun and accessible for everyone. First, the most important thing is understanding your own goal. Do you want to be able to just speak or understand the language? Or do you want to be able to read and speak? Or do you want the ultimate where you can read, speak, and write? That is the hardest part, but knowing what you are going for will determine what kind of techniques or apps you might want to use. So a lot of people just want to be able to speak or understand so that they can watch animes or dramas or any kind of fun TV without the subtitles. If that's you, that is totally okay. No judgment here. Knowing that is super, super helpful. Or perhaps you want it for traveling. So you want to know a little bit more than just understanding. You want to be able to read and make your way around. Again, great to know. Clearly identifying your goal makes it a lot easier to figure out how to reach your goal. For learning to read and write, know that there are several parts to the Japanese language that make it a little complicated and frustrate my husband to no end. While the language or alphabet is phonetic, there are two alphabets. There is the hiragana and there is the katakana. For the same sounds, there is a hiragana and a katakana method of writing it, and hiragana is used most of the time, but katakana is specifically used to write foreign words, say banana or lion. How you would say that in Japanese is with just Japanese accent, banana or lion. For example, in hiragana, it would be written as banana. But that's not how you write it because it is a foreign word. It is not a Japanese originated word. And so you would actually write it banana in katakana. There's also kanji characters on top of the hiragana and katakana, which are actually mostly the same as Chinese characters. So if you know Chinese characters, this might really help you. The meaning is actually the same across languages. The pronunciations are usually completely different. So I know enough kanji so that when I travel in China, I'm able to identify restaurants or, oh, that's a bookstore or that's a different kind of store or things like that. I just have no idea how to pronounce them. And so I cannot talk to someone and ask them, where is the bookstore? However, I can get around and identify some of those things. So my friends that are just wanting to speak and understand, watching TV is actually probably the most helpful thing you can do, and it's fun. So who says you cannot learn from TV? I definitely don't. I mean, it probably depends on what you watch, but here is my permission slip for you friends to go watch that Japanese TV. Whether it's the animes that you absolutely love, or you're going into the Japanese dramas or entertainment kind of shows, they all help and have different contexts. So feel free to put those captions on and watch and listen. And as you go along, maybe you can turn those captions or subtitles off sometimes so that you can immerse yourself in it and you're still having fun. I'm a true believer that learning happens when you have fun, and when you make it funner, it actually makes you want to keep going and then you keep on learning. Imagine that, friends, that you stick to something that you want to do and actually learn along the way. Now let's talk about apps, because here are some popular ones and our family's personal favorites. Let's talk about Duolingo first. It is a very common app these days for languages. Japanese is no different. It is on Duolingo and it does help a lot. It helps with understanding grammar, and the repetition in all the different lessons really, really drills home how to say things, how to grammatize things. Grammatize, is that a word? But my kids were doing it as well as my husband, and I did see them getting better and learning along the way of all the different sentences that you can make and how to say them. It teaches you both ways of reading and writing and listening and all of the different things.
いいえ、1時です。今、3時頃です。今、3時頃です。
So while it isn't a one-stop shop, in my opinion, it does give a good sense of grammar, vocabulary, and building those things. It isn't too great in kanji character teaching from what I have gathered, but maybe we haven't gotten to that level yet. It is a good starting point if you are a big person on grammar and vocabulary. I personally want my kids to be able to do it all, the reading, writing, speaking, the whole thing. So I think reading is phenomenal in all kinds of ways. They've gone to Japanese school and know their alphabets. Yes, like I said, it's plural, the hiragana and katakana, and some kanji. So we love the Ehon Nabi app. It is a fun way, again, fun learning to reinforce the language, and it looks like this. There are so many different parts to this. We love it mostly for Japanese picture books. I can read it aloud to them while they see and follow along and hear it, or they can even read it on their own because they have that basic knowledge of the language. I love hearing them read these things, and yes, it is a lot of books below their reading levels at the current moment. But again, it is fun. They are doing it on their own. They are reading more, exposing themselves to more because they are not exposed to a lot of Japanese language and books and such in their daily lives. So for that, I will take fun learning any day if they are reading books that are meant for little tiny kids. I will slowly go and increase that level, but if they're having fun and they're learning and they're using it, that is reinforcing what they know, and I love that. I will say they don't just have picture books, even though ehon means picture books. There are tons of picture books, but there are also audiobooks, there are videos, there are also older kid books. So there is a variety of things, and we ended up buying the annual subscription, which is actually very, very affordable. So to me, it is absolutely worth it, but you don't have to pay anything. You just have to create an account and you get several books a month for free to read with your child or for yourself. Another app that my husband is really trying to use to learn kanji, which is really hard, friends. I agree. There are so many kanji characters. I have forgotten a lot of them as well because I just don't use them in my everyday life, living here and not having a ton of Japanese people around me. But he is using Wanikani. It is wanikani.com. This helps break down vocabulary along with kanji radicals. So breaks up the different parts of the kanji because kanji, it's made up of all these different parts and different kanji use those same pieces, like the same radicals. And so knowing those helps you identify a little more of what that character means. It also uses mnemonics to help remember how to pronounce certain things because that is a really hard part, especially coming from English where this language is completely different. The system also customizes based on what you have remembered or what you haven't remembered on different quizzes. And so it customizes to you and helps you learn better on the things that you missed and reiterates some of those things a little more. As an example of mnemonics, how he now remembers Minami, which means south, is because in that portion, they said mean Amy goes south. Mean Amy goes south. Minami, mean Amy. So I'm not sure there's like a huge correlation, but it has stuck in his brain enough to know that Minami, south, he remembers it as mean Amy. Now, he has been super studious, and I'm actually really, really impressed by the kanji that he has come to know. He created his own binder. I'm amazed, and it is so cute to see the kids testing him on it too, and them learning together and testing each other. Warms my heart. And of course, friends, immersion is one of the best ways that you can learn. So here is your push to make that trip to Japan. Immerse yourselves. If you've learned a little bit of Japanese before you go, use it. Just try it. And I know you'll see your language skyrocket from there. If you're visiting Japan for the first time or you're planning for it, check out my suggested Japan itinerary. I think it will be helpful for you to see all the things that we love doing and making it less stressful as you travel. Go check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.